All right. Hello, Brain to Belly family. This is Coach Yayoi, and I am here with a special guest. This is the first time I've met her on even anywhere, really. We've been conversing a little bit on Facebook Messenger, and her name is Anna, and she is a holistic health coach, I would say. If I'm wrong, tell me. And so, Anna, I'd love you to tell the people in my group about what you do. And I know you focus a lot on midlife health.
Mhm.
And if you can explain a little bit about that and with women, primarily with women. So, yes, please tell us a little bit about that and what your passion is.
Thank you so much, Yayoi. It's so happy to be here. Thank you for sharing the space with me. So my name is Anna Desmarais. I sometimes will just say holistic health coach to keep it simple, but I'm actually to give you all of my titles. It's
Yes,
a
please.
registered nurse,
Yes.
nutritionist, and board certified integrative health and wellness nurse coach.
Wow. No, no, no.
Mouthful, mouthful. Yeah. So yeah, a couple licenses and board certifications thrown in there. But yes, I do specialize in women's health, especially in midlife. I feel like this is a demographic that has been largely ignored in the medical community because I was
Yes.
coming, originally from the medical community. So I was a nurse at the bedside for mostly in the ER. And so I saw a lot of things happening there. I saw a lot of women not being able to get the care that they needed, especially as they're going through the menopause transition. It's not very
Yes.
well understood in the mainstream medical community. Things are changing, thank goodness. Things are changing a lot. But, a lot of women weren't getting the care they needed. And so when I moved into coaching, I said, I got to take care of my ladies. Like I'm also a woman in midlife. I know the struggles that we're going through, and I also know that there are solutions. There's ways that
Yes.
we can feel better. Whether we use medical treatments or just do it naturally, holistically, there's so many options. What a wonderful time to be in,
Yes.
where we can have both. We can have it
Yes.
all, you
It's
know?
true.
So
It's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, whatever your preferences are, like there are options for you. And so that is kind of my job is to help guide these women. But I do also really, really believe in nailing down the foundations,
Yes.
foundations being like good nutrition, physical activity,
Yes.
sleep, reducing
Oh,
stress,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
all that stuff, but
The
also
basics.
the
Yes.
basics that we all
Yeah.
ignore because they're
Yes.
too difficult, right?
Yeah.
Because we want quick solutions. We come from a society that
Oh,
wants like,
yeah.
I want
Yep.
a solution. I want a quick fix. I want it overnight. Fix me. You
Yep.
know, we have to do the work.
Yes. Yes.
And by doing that work, the beauty of that is that we get sustainable results, right?
So
And
true.
we feel better mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of it, if we do the work and we get those foundations
Oh,
down.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I
So
mean,
now it,
I totally feel you and I totally agree with you. The basics. I mean, those are fundamentals that aren't even taught anymore. Um, I'm like going to say when I was growing up,
right, right, right,
but
right.
it's true. Like I grew up in the 70s. So, even in the 70s, we had home ec classes
Yeah,
and we got basic nutrition information. And nowadays, that doesn't even exist in schools. Um, I mean, first of all, people don't even know how to cook,
yeah, yeah.
basic stuff.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't do this basic stuff and we don't put importance on it because we live in a society that is focusing so much on productivity
Yes.
and, how can we fill our schedules? And so like sleep, no, we don't
Yeah.
have time to sleep,
Yeah. I know. I mean, I wish we didn't have to sleep, but physically, our bodies need it. We need to rest it,
Yes,
and then our brains need it as well. And I
100%.
think I think people just forget that because there's so much out there you want to do, and I understand that feeling, but it's like with a car, you have to let it rest a little bit. You can't just keep on running it all the way, 24/7.
That's right. And then also you need to pay attention to the dashboard and see if there are any lights turning on. And like, before your car breaks down and
Yes.
you have to take it to the mechanic, like change your oil. like get your brakes checked, like do
Yes,
all those things. And that requires kind of having a good relationship with your car. And I
yes,
kind of see that as like same with your body, having a good relationship with your body, listening to your body,
yes,
tuning into its signals.
yes,
So you can sense if something is out of balance. And when you sense that something's out of balance, you fix it. You
yes,
try to
yes,
do things to kind of bring it back into balance
yeah.
before you have to take it to the mechanic or, the hospital or whatever it
Oh,
is.
yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think many of us ignore the signals that our body gives us because we're not used to it. We haven't learned to listen to
Right.
it.
That's right.
And I think, part of what we both do is I know my mantra is always like, listen to your body, listen to
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
body.
I know it sounds so cliche, but it's like, no, it's true. We have to. And you're right. We don't know how to.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe is why it sounds so cliche. It's like, yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah, I know I am listening to my body. Well, are you actually?
Yeah, yeah. And because we don't take time and we've forgotten how to take time to just stay still, even for 5 minutes,
Absolutely.
you know. And I think because like our society is all about go, 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 right? And you've got to get this done, you've got to get that done. And then you have the phone, which is like, your best buddy and you can't let go of it. I know people that take it into the bathroom and I'm like, are you serious? Yeah. But, and I'm like, I hope you're not in the bathroom calling me, right?
Right, right. If you hear the echo,
Yeah,
not in
I'm
the
like,
bathroom.
yeah. I used to know one of my bosses. He used to take his phone with him to the bathroom all the time, and I was like, I
It's like,
didn't
I
want
know
to
you're in the
know that.
bathroom. I hear the
Yeah,
echo.
and like I didn't want to know that. I try to ignore it, but
Yeah, TMI
yeah.
boss. But yeah, exactly. We're not slowing down. And I
Yes.
think this is one of the reasons I really love working with women in midlife because
Hmm.
from a young age, we've been go, go, go. And then you start taking care of others, whether you have children or you're
Yes.
aging parents, or, now you're balancing that with the workplace. And when you're younger, your body will compensate, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe you're getting crappy sleep, maybe you're not eating so well, and maybe not really exercising, whatever, and your body will compensate and you'll be okay. But like once you start getting older, and especially once you go through that menopause transition, you have that decline in estrogen and all
Oh,
those,
yeah.
that beautiful protective hormone that we have. Things can we're more sensitive to stress. We don't compensate as well. So this is really the time where we need to really slow down because otherwise things just start to fall apart. And that's kind of like, if there's any takeaway of anybody listening to me now, it's like self-care.
Yes.
Take some time. Slow down. Your body needs it. Your brain needs it.
Oh, totally. Yeah, and we forget that our brains are such an important thing that we have. We say, oh yeah, your brain's important, but do you really understand how important that brain is? It's like it's your CPU. It's the CPU of you, right? It's like the main thing that runs the computer, which is your body.
Mhm.
And I always say that you have to remember to take care of it because if you feed it, if you eat, like if you're eating poorly, poor nutrition and lots of sugar, let's say for example, lots of salts,
Mhm.
those affect your
Yep.
brain. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much it affects your brain and how your cognitive function is impaired because of the intake of too much sugar and too much salt. And it's really about balancing a lot of that thing. And like you said, we women tend to be caretakers that we forget to take care of ourselves.
Yes. And we can say, oh, I'm focusing on myself and I'm taking some me time. Like we can say that, but are we actually, and I think we're just kind of conditioned to always put others first. If something comes up, we're not good at really making those boundaries. It's like, you know
Yes.
what? I'm gonna have to say no. And because this is my me time,
Yeah.
and we're expected just sometimes to like, if there's something that comes up, we're supposed to our me time gets thrown out the window if we
Yes.
take care of this, but like we
Yeah.
can't do that anymore.
No.
It's so
No.
important for our health. I love how you talked about the how our diet affects our brain because I'm like really big on that, and I realize how many people don't really know how much our diet affects our brain. And
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to gut health and all of that,
Yes. Yes.
I was just giving some workshops about gut health and about that gut brain axis and how essential it is to really make sure that we have a healthy gut.
Oh,
And we're
yeah.
just now discovering that. And it's really an emerging science, which I'm totally nerding out about. I love it. I'm sure you remember this, but I remember when they were like mapping out the genome, like the DNA, like mapping that all out, like that was
Yes.
like the new frontier.
Yeah.
And now it's like we've got this new frontier of our gut.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Like what kind of little creatures in there? What are they doing?
Well, I think it's also because people are having so many issues with their gut, and a lot of it also stems from our food supply, but it's also what we put in our bodies that affect our gut and how it affects our brain, and it's all connected, and I think we forget that. A lot of
Yes.
us forget that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we forget that it's bi-directional, meaning that like our brain is going to affect our gut health as well,
Oh,
right? If
yes.
we have stress and those things, that's going to affect your gut lining.
Yep.
It's going to create inflammation and all those things. So, people always hear, oh, you got to reduce stress. You got to reduce stress for your health. And they don't realize that how much it actually physiologically does affect you in so many
Yep.
different ways. So again, coming back to that self-care.
Yes, yes. And with even the rise of diabetes in our world right now, I mean, that comes from a lot of food products that are just pre-prepared foods that we tend to eat because it's just convenient. It's
Hmm.
faster to prepare. Like when you're on the run, you've got kids to pick up, you've got, you know, this commitment, you've got your work commitment. You're like, oh, I'll just have a frozen dinner. I'll just go through the drive-through. And that I mean, that's okay occasionally, but
Right.
when you do that consistently, all those toxins that from those foods start accumulating in your body.
Yes, yes, and they actually starve your gut because they're
Yeah.
they're devoid of fiber, right? And your
Yes.
gut needs fiber to be healthy,
Yes.
to flourish. And so yeah, I think we're just going back to that whole productivity in
Yes.
society. It's like you don't have time to cook. I don't have time to prepare meals. We need to change that mindset, and make that preparing food, preparing nourishing food, make that a part of our self-care routine.
Yes.
That is self-care to give
It is.
ourselves
It is.
nutrients.
Yes,
You
it
know?
is. It is. It so is. And I think we tend to forget that. And gosh, it's one of the basic things, but we figure, oh, that can wait because we have to take care of this first. But if we understand that food and nutrition is part of that self-care and it's an essential part of it, then I think we have to kind of like start that movement and get
Yeah.
people to understand that.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is a movement. It really is to reprioritize
Mm-hmm.
everything. Like instead of thinking, okay, work, schedules, commitments, this and that, like can we make the priorities nutrition,
Yeah.
sleep, physical exercise,
Yeah.
all of those things, because really that is the most important thing in life. Because if you don't have your health and happiness, like who cares about work and schedules and obligations?
Exactly.
And it's like
Exactly.
sometimes we don't realize that until it's too late, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I think it's especially when we're in this midlife areas when we start realizing that our bodies aren't going to hold out forever, you
Right.
know? That's when we start realizing, illnesses start creeping up. And things you did in the 20s and your 30s are no longer, you know, well, those things affect you now. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I shouldn't have done that when I was so young, or, things like that.
Yeah.
I think it's all of those things, yeah. And wow, I'm like, I want to continue talking to you, but so I'd love to continue talking to you,
Yeah.
and I think maybe we could set up another time to do part two or something, and
Sure.
then
Sure.
and I'd love to have you on my other show, my other Brain to Belly show, which is like 50 minutes. So I will definitely invite you to that as well. So
Super.
yes,
I'd love to. Yeah,
yeah,
I love talking about this stuff. As you can
I
see, I
know.
get like really
I know,
passionate.
me too, me too. I'm like, I want to talk more. So, Anna, could you tell our viewers a little bit about how they can get in touch with you? And I know you're part of the Brain to Belly family now, so you could put your contact information in for us. That would be great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the easiest thing to do is to maybe
Okay.
make post with
Yep.
my website, my email address, my social
Perfect.
media, all that. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
absolutely do that.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time today. It was a
Yeah.
pleasure to meet you,
Yeah, it was
really.
such a
Yeah.
pleasure. Thank you. Thanks
Yeah.
for nerding out with me.
Oh, thank you. I'll nerd out with you anytime.
Yay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks so
Okay.
much.
I am.